I like, if I find I'm writing a character who's just far too sympathetic, I usually it's like, I'm doing something wrong here. You have to back up. Because that was the thing about Marcelina that I liked, was that she was. You had to like. I couldn't help liking her. You really didn't want to.
No, you weren't supposed to.
Trashy, superficial bitch at so many levels, but you're kind of, and also I've known Brazilians like her as well. It was a sort of recognisable personality type. But it's that thing, isn't it? You don't want a character who's so likeable enough.
Yeah. I mean, I find there's a lot in kind of American reviewing of stuff in general, and there's the whole thing of the sympathetic character. It's the panel at Worldcon last year, and we were talking about kind of sympathetic characters. Some writer beside me was saying, you have to find a me-shaped hole in every book, and there's a woman in the audience said, I can't read a book unless it has an identifiable female character. It's like, what are you reading for? The whole thing is to take you somewhere else.
So you should. Bizarre. Okay, go away and write something. Don't expect somebody else to provide it for you. It is very strange. It's this thing that like Mike Harrison is always going on about comfort fiction. It's that, isn't it? It's that thing of you have to feel comfortable. It's interesting because with the film option on Altered Carbon, very much the thrust of sort of how they were working on the script, how they were trying to sort of bring it to the screen, was an attempt to take the central character and make him not only more sympathetic, but also to make him just not scary to a kind of middle class, middle American audience, and right down to the fact that the idea of this business of being able to live from body to body, the thrust of the script was really saying that, but you wouldn't want that. You wouldn't like it really. It's better to the way things are now.
No, it's not.
No, because that's and when you think about it, that's the thread that runs through most American movie science fiction.
Yeah.
Is that sense that this might look really cool, but really you're much better off living now. At the late end of the 20th century, early 21st century, being the way we are. That's so much better than this new frightening reality.
Well, that's kind of the Michael Crichton thing. That every film he does is Pandora's box in some way or other. That technology and change is bad, and it's not. I mean, if you can re-sleeve someone, who wouldn't want that?
Absolutely.
Bring it on.
Well, we were talking about it at a panel last night, and saying, if you could re-sleeve, would you? And everyone just looks on the panel discussing.
Stupid. Right? Next question, please.
And also that people cope. I think that's the other thing. The point I was trying to make was that. It will be a weird and really scary world from our point of view. But the people who live in it will there'll be a body of law. There will be a structure in place, and they'll cope with it the way we cope now.
Exactly. And in a sense, there are kind of core human ways of coping with change. In a sense, it's the same now as it was for the Romans who built this place as well.
Did you find when you were writing the 1730?
Stuff. I enjoyed that bit best.
Was it hard to sort of pare back to that kind? Stop yourself going for techno metaphors and things like that.
To prepare myself, I read all of Patrick O'Brien's books, all in one, all 20 in strict succession. So by the time I got to about 18, I was Jack Aubrey, and he's fantastic. He's a great world builder. Actually, he really gets into the mindset, and it was just a question of. That kind of sense of dislocation then got me back to the way Jesuits were in 1732, and there's quite a lot of written material about that period of Brazilian history.
I'm doing fantasy at the moment, and it's a similar kind of problem that I'm kind of, it says, his smile flickered on and off, and then it's like, nothing exists that does that.
Yeah.
So we have to have a smile guttering like a candle.
That's actually very interesting. Actually, you do have to change the way you think about how you write. Not just from a future metaphor, but even to early 21st century kind of way of thinking about words on a page. What's the fantasy?
Oh, it's the working title's Land Fit for Heroes, and it's really all my sort of, it's like all the sort of the Moorcock and the Paul Anderson stuff that I read when I was a teenager. I was taking that ethos and trying to just basically taking also the noir stuff from the Kovacs books and trying to just put that in context. So I guess it's going to be a bit like Black Company, but not so military. It's much more much more sort of sitting around talking and kind of stabbings in back alleys rather than battlefronts and things.
Military set pieces and all that.
But it's to say it's fun, but surprisingly challenging because I thought, well, it'll be relaxing because the thing with fantasy is you can sort of invent your way out of corners quite easily. You know, so we'll have something magical.
The judicial use of magic as a kind of plot resolution mechanism.
But it's it's pretty difficult in other ways as well.
I mean, they always say that the first thing in science fiction is you work out how the faster than light drive works. You know, you plan the starships first, and in fantasy, you lay down the laws of magic first as well. Actually, you kind of work out a working magical system.
Well, it's tricky, because it's got to be. Unless you place some limits around it, it just solves every problem.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And you're left with that. It's the Tom Bombadillo argument, isn't it? It's.
Where is it then?
Yeah.
It's like, in The Lord of the Rings, it's like, well, hang on, why doesn't Tom Bombadil take a hand in this?
Yeah.
And obviously because he's not, he's not part of the story. He's thrown in, and indeed is why he doesn't crop up in the movie once, I suppose.
Yeah. There's a kind of price to magic or something. That sort of like Asimov's 3 laws of robotics. There's a kind of limiting mechanism. It's the limits that make it interesting. Right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just like Harry Potter. You just point a wand. You can do whatever the hell you like, and that's fairly. And then you get into one of those kind of like Japanese manga arms race things, where the entire world ends up burned down.
That was my. I can't do manga for that very reason. Because I remember watching Akira. With its 11 different finishing climaxes, where each time you think the bloody thing's dead, and then it emerges even bigger and uglier.
That was my big problem with Steam Boy. In that it looked very pretty, and they got Manchester more or less right, but the whole thing just turned into this steam-powered arms race thing. Everything got bigger and bigger and bigger, and then blew up.
You can only sort of tremble and erupt with superhuman rage so many times, can't you?